me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
I am serious.
What up, film fans? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode 321. Welcome to the first Omen, and welcome to a new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I am your host, Juan, and I am the only Juan here. We're going to sit here, hang out with you for just a little bit. It's going to be a little different sounding of an episode, but I promised you all an episode, and that's what we're going to give you. So we'll take a look back at what we kind of talked about last week, and then I will go a little solo and just talk to you a little bit about the first Omen, where you can pick it up, how much you can probably expect it to be, or you can check it out on streaming wherever you stream movies at. So welcome to episode 321. I am going to review the first Omen today and just kind of talk to you about that. If you guys did not check us out last week, go back and listen to Idle Hands. We had a fun conversation all about Idle Hands. How did it age well? Did it age well at all? Hard to believe that movie is as old as it is too. So go back and listen to it if you have not seen it or checked it out. I believe it's available on Tubi for the time being. Or you can check us out on the social media pages, facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Instagram is all one word, /the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, or X is at Cine-Men405, or the email is cinemen921@gmail.com. You can find all of our links there to all of our past episodes, all of the archives, and drawings as well. We have giveaways, digital copy giveaways, sponsorship giveaways, whether it be packs of OKC soda, tickets to get into Rodeo Cinema, free pizza, or San Marcos gift certificates. So go check out all of our cool sponsors on the social media pages right there below. We can get into some recent watches. If you guys are out there, you guys do email us a lot. You guys email us at cinemen921@gmail.com. You guys send us in a bunch of emails. So continue to send in those emails, and we'll get them read starting maybe some next week when we review Clerks 3. So those emails are always fun. Again, if you want to check out my recent watches or recommendations, just go to the Instagram right there. It's Instagram /the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And you can check out some of my recent watches and what I might recommend. I checked out Magic over the weekend. If you guys have not seen that movie, it is available on Tubi for free. I checked it out for Friday the 14th podcast. It was a fun conversation, but our conversation was way more entertaining than the movie. So give that a listen. We are here live on Facebook and the Imasawa Productions YouTube channel. So everything that we stream or everything you listen to on the pod, you can go back and watch as well. I did check out Halloween 1, 2, and 3. It's that time of year. This is our last episode before Halloween. So I am digging into some horror movies and Halloween movies. So Deadpool and Wolverine, I believe it also hit Disney Plus. It also hit physical media. So go check out Deadpool and Wolverine. We also had a full episode on it over the summer. Go check it out. And then what I'm talking about today, what I'm going to recommend, excuse me, is the first Omen. So highly recommend the first Omen. It is available now to stream on Hulu. So why not? If you have a Hulu subscription, go check it out. I'm going to talk to you about it for just a little bit. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. So let's dig into what we're talking about today. Currently on IMDb, it's got a 6.5. Rotten Tomatoes at 82%. The Metascore is 65, while the Letterboxd is at a 3.4. With a budget of $30 million, it did gross a little over $55 million at the box office. A young American woman is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, but encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith and uncovers terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the truth about the birth of evil incarnate. If you guys have not checked this out, this is going to kind of be spoiler territory. Again, this is kind of a different sounding episode. It's just me today, so I'm pushing this out, recommending the first Omen more than how we usually do it on this podcast. Is we'll kind of have a group discussion about the movie and review, break it down. But like I said, with it just being me today, I promised you guys a new episode, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to for today. I'm going to kind of just push this movie out there and kind of just talk about it, my do's and my don'ts with this movie, maybe where they kind of went wrong, and then we'll wrap it up, and I'll tell you my favorite scene and star rating. First off, the cast. Neil Tiger Free plays Margaret. Ralph Ineson plays Father Brennan. Sonia Barga plays Sister Sylvia. Tawfiq Baharman plays Father Gabriel, and then directed by Arkasha Stevenson. This is a prequel to the Omen movies, so you don't have to see any of the original Omen movies to kind of understand or what's going on. So I think it's gonna kind of be a fun little movie if you've never seen any of the Omen movies. Again, you don't have to check any of them out. This one does follow the exact original Omen from 1976, starring Gregory Peck. So this movie as well is on Hulu. So if you want to check out the first Omen and then get right into the original, you can do that because they're both on Hulu. So like I said, I'm going to keep it short and sweet today. This movie is very dark. Certain aspects of the movie is shot very, very beautifully, especially the wide shots of Rome. The score is, I think, phenomenal. I'm going to put this movie over a lot because I really did enjoy it for it being a supernatural horror movie and for it to do a lot with maybe faith, or with it doing a lot of about different touchy subjects, definitely in general. So it's very touchy as far as the subject matter. Obviously, if you've seen The Omen, then you know that this movie, being the first Omen, is about Maggie eventually being the one who gives birth to the Antichrist, Damien. Damien is the main villain, if you will, the main demon in the Omen franchise. So this is kind of setting up to how the birth of Damien happened. It also is coming across who and how Gregory Peck's character in the original Omen gets Damien. But leading up to the final 10 minutes of the birth, it's kind of playing, not really a who done it, but who is going to give birth to this baby. Damien's going to give birth, is going to be born in the movie, but this movie is kind of just playing around with who's giving the birth. And it kind of plays around with Maggie. It kind of plays around with Carlita. All the signs are pushing, and it's telling you it's going to be Carlita. There's some very, very dark scenes of this movie. Not a lot of deaths, but the movie starts off with a scene from I just had it. I'm sorry. The movie starts off with Father Brennan, played by Ralph Ineson, and he is kind of like pushed out of the church. But that opening scene where the first father gets the glass that breaks from the ceiling from the construction and falls and hits him in the back of the head, splits his head open, and you're kind of like just left in awe right there. And you can kind of tell that this movie is going to be set for a really kind of a dark messing with your mind / messing with your religion, your beliefs. So if you're not too big on on movies like that, then you might want to skip this one. This movie is not for everybody. A lot of the scenes are really dark. a lot of the scenes are also really, really pushing faith in a different direction that you probably don't want to watch. So, myself even had to question: is this a movie we should really talk about? Is this a movie that I should really even watch personally? But at the end of the day, we received some emails and some messages about, hey, the first Omen earlier in the summer was a hit. This movie did come out April 5th, 2024. So this is a new movie. It hit Hulu earlier in the summer. So again, and I'm surprised, $30 million budget, it only grossed $54 million. But that Omen franchise is not really on the cusp of, let's say, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. The Omen has its fans, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not like the other big top tier franchises that are out there. Some of the scenes that are to look at for the first Omen, like I said, the opening scene with the glass shattering, and then you get introduced to Maggie, Carlita. There's some dark, weird scenes about Maggie being at a party. You get to where she's in the hospital room and she witnesses that birth, and then you see the devil or the demon's hand come out of the lady who's giving birth, and that scene right there is just kind of like, whoa. Pretty dark film. What did I get myself into? There's a really disturbing scene about a nun who she's completely possessed. She's, standing on the balcony. She's soaked in gasoline, and she completely sets herself to a flame, hangs herself. That's actually also how the original first Omen starts off, with Gregory Peck from the 70s. So there's just scene after scene with this movie. There's the riot scene where they kind of lose Carlita, and Maggie's going around looking for her. And then she sees her just hunched over crying. And then the demon nun who just committed suicide puts her arm around her. That's a touchy scene. There is a scene where she kind of meets at the party. At the party earlier in the movie, Maggie meets Palo, and she goes and she meets Brennan, and she ends up walking into Palo again, and he's like completely freaked out. He's like, "Stay away from me, don't follow me." And he also tells her to keep an eye out for something. But while he's being distracted by looking at her, he gets hit by a vehicle. And Maggie runs to him and puts her arms over him and tries to move him from the vehicle scene, from the crash scene. And man, he just is completely lacerated from in between the hips. So he is completely just torn and underneath the stomach and below the waist. So that's a very graphic scene. This movie is rated R, so if you guys are kind of queasy, this probably isn't the movie for you. She also now finds the records. So Maggie is like also investigating the who, the why, the how, the done it, who's really about to give birth to this devil baby, really. Father Brennan is like kind of castrated away from the church, so he's kind of playing with fire, really. So he's trying to tell Maggie, hey, you need to get away, you need to watch what you're doing because this is not safe. Again, they're pointing fingers towards Carlita, like she is the one that's going to give birth to this baby. Later on in the movie, you find out that she does have the 666 numbers on the roof of her mouth. That's a good little twist in there to make you think she is still going to be the one who gives birth. Long story short, she is not the one who ends up giving the birth. Margaret is the one who gives the birth. And throughout the whole movie, they play around with, like, if it's a female, if it's mortified, if it's not a boy, they kind of do away with the baby, or they discard the baby. So again, this is a very touchy subject, very touchy movie. They end up not giving a birth to a female or a baby girl at the end of the movie. She ends up giving the birth to a boy, which in the original movies we all know is Damien, born June 6th at, the whole message is 666, obviously. So again, very touchy subject, but if you want to follow more movies like this, The Omen was 1976, The Omen 2, the Omen Final Conflict, and then The Omen 4. And then in 2016, there was like a TV show. But again, you don't really have to watch 2, 3, or 4. If you're kind of wanting something different that's not like a slasher movie, I would start with the first Omen on Hulu and then just go in and watch the classic one in 1976. So those are both on Hulu. The Omen Part 2 is even on Hulu, and so is the Final Conflict, which is pretty funny. It stars Sam Neill, plays the older Damien. Everybody knows Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. But all in all, guys, I enjoyed the Omen, the first Omen. I thought it was a cool, slick throwback nod to the original. They were very, very smart with the script, with the jump scares. It wasn't too silly, and it didn't feel generic. Like I said, the score was really good. It also flirted around and played with the original score from the original movie at the end of this one. Very, very good performance from Ralph Ensign. I thought he was probably the highlight of the movie. I also did think Neil Tiger Free, who played Margaret, I thought she was okay as the main nun, the main person who ended up being possessed and giving birth to Damien. But all in all, I thought this was a pretty good watch. For it coming out in April, I kind of wish maybe they pushed it back to September, October, because other than Terrifier 3 and Smile 2, there wasn't really any big horror movies that came out this season. So I completely throw my nod, and I think the first Omen is a pretty good flick. If I had to pick a favorite scene, the drawings at the end of the movie where she kind of not possesses herself, but she realizes what she is reading, and then therefore she starts being possessed when she reads the drawings and sees the drawings. And then she sees the burnt nun who hung herself, like in a scary image. I thought that was a pretty cool scene. The birth scene is really gross. Palo getting hit, very graphic, but a very dark scene. It sets the tone for the movie, just like the glass shatter scene at the beginning. So I would go check this movie out. Again, it's on Hulu. You guys don't have to spend any money on it if you have Hulu. I picked up my copy for like $19.99, $20. It's a pretty good physical copy. You guys know I like my physical copies. It also has some pretty good bonus features. The director's vision, the mystery of Margaret, which is a good little story that if you want to know more about Margaret, it's there. And then the signs of the first Omen, uncovering the symbols. And again, if you want to get into Damien and this franchise, no better way to start off than with the first Omen. It actually makes me want to watch the original one right after. So that's what a good prequel to me does. I'm not putting this up there with Rogue One by any means, but this is definitely a good prequel for me. Is something that makes you want to watch the original, and the first Omen definitely does that. So, those are some of my favorite scenes from the first Omen. If I had to give this movie a star rating, honestly, I liked it a lot. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I thought the movie was pretty cool. It had some really good, dark, scary scenes, some good jump scares, but this movie didn't base itself off of jump scares. This movie also reminded me, because it was set in Rome and the cinematography was so good, I felt like I was almost watching a different or a darker version of like some Angels and Demons stuff with Tom Hanks. So it really does have that unsolved mystery kind of feeling for it. So again, my star rating, 3.5, 3.5 out of 5. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's not going to be my go-to, but it definitely was a taste or a breath of fresh air when it comes to horror movies and creating something new for a franchise to kind of breathe off of. Because honestly, we haven't got an Omen movie in decades. Okay, so this movie coming out kind of, hopefully clarified, like, hey, people still dig that tune, that score, and people kind of still dig the whole process of just Damien being born and, a movie of the Antichrist. Again, not for everybody, but it's on Hulu. Definitely worth checking out. Again, completely different sounding episode. I'm sorry it was just me this week, but hopefully I did y'all justice. I hopefully made you want to go out and watch The First Omen. It's available on Hulu. Don't forget, tomorrow is a special Friday the 14th episode. We are reviewing Halloween H2O, Friday the 14th podcast. That's tomorrow night, Wednesday, October 30th, 8 p.m. And then next Tuesday, don't forget, we are finished with horror season. So next Tuesday, November the 5th, we review Clerks 3 right here on another brand new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Have a good week.